All right, let's continue here on the program. We're joined by a gentleman. As a matter of fact, you've seen him in such movies as Barbershop, Think Like a Man, To the Intruder, Perfect Guy. He's got a new project, Reasonable Doubt, on Hulu right now. As a matter of fact, he's from my hometown, Silver Spring, Maryland. He is Michael Ealy, joins us here on the program. Good to see you, Mike. What's going on?
I'm good, brother. How you doing, man?
I can't complain. I can't complain. You know, let me start here. I got this shirt on, and we're not doing too good, man. Like 1-3 to start the season. Your thoughts on the way that the Commanders are playing? It all starts at the top. Okay. I think this is a slippery slope, but we've had 30 years of issues, and it all starts at the top. So something's got to change. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, right? Like the losing to the Cowboys, getting blown out by the Eagles. Your thought? Let me. It's been some years. So your thoughts on the name change to ultimately now Commanders?
I don't like the new name. It was definitely time to change the name, but I don't like the new name. And it's again, it's
you're struggling, man. You're struggling.
Yeah, I mean, because look, I grew up and it was in my blood, right? Like, and at a certain point, and I've had this conversation with other people, like at a certain point, we as fans have to demand better. And there's only one way to do that. And, I no longer live in the area, so, it may be easier for me, but, it is heartbreaking. Like my son asked me the other day, like, are you still a fan? And I was like, it's hard, bud, because, by the time I was 10, we had won 3 Super Bowls, been in 4 by the time I was like 10 or 12 years old. So, and we just had a winning culture, we just had a winning culture, and, it was different. There's just been a lot of mediocrity and a lot of bad GM decisions. And, that just leads to more and more problems. In addition to all of the scandals and investigations and everything else, and at a certain point, I think we as fans have to kind of decide, or just, like I said, just demand more, demand better, demand more, and, not kind of blindly support an organization that's not representing the area.
The area, there you go. And I feel you. I'm just not there. Michael, I'm there for it every week, even though it was bad the week before. I'm just there for it every week, man.
And at a certain point, that's what I'm saying. Like, because I'm not there, it's easier for me. I will not deny that. It's easier for me. But I feel like at what point, what is the definition of insanity?
Yeah.
Let that marinate, because at a certain point, the toxicity starts to spread into the fan base.
Yeah. The one and only Michael Ealy joins us here on the program. So, but now your Terps, right? University of Maryland, not bad. 4-1 right now. I mean, you got to be feeling pretty good about that.
Look, this is the way I am about like alumni sports and like my television projects and stuff. We got to finish strong. You know what I mean? Starting off good is great, but the effect of finishing strong and how important that is. So I just keep holding my breath till the end of the season for both the Terps and for Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. Mike Locksley and Mike Locksley is an area guy as the head coach. And I think that makes all the difference in the world. When you and I were growing up, the Terps football was just
it just wasn't what it was. And to be 4-1 right now, coming off the win against Michigan State's pretty big.
Yeah. I mean, look, as a Terp, I was there, and when I was there, I think they built onto the stadium so that they could get the bigger schools to come play and everything. And, those tuition dollars went to, the program, and I get it. The campus is completely different now, which is amazing. And I'm excited with where things are going right now. I really am. I'm excited with where things are going with the university. And, again, just holding my breath that we can sustain some of this progress, because, it takes a little time to get there. Obviously, it's taken, I've been out of there over 20 years now. So, it's taken time, but hopefully we can have a sustainably, some sort of sustainable growth as a university in terms of the athletics department, for sure.
No doubt about it. I staying sort of with the DMV in the area. I was talking with John Wall not that long ago, and I said to him, for all the years that I lived in Washington, I never had gone to the Kenner League until I went back home this past July. I finally went for the first time, and it was really cool. I'm sure because you played, but you played at Springbrook. I remember the 91, the beating Blair to go to, and Blair was undefeated to go to the regional, which was, I guess, the Final Four, and then ultimately lost, I think, to Parkdale, who had Urban Church and all those guys. Yeah. But what do you remember most about growing up and, I guess, specifically playing ball in the, as we call it, the area?
The area. Yeah, it was, it's funny because that was, I think for a lot of people, those are the glory years, right? And so I remember feeling like Springbrook was the pinnacle of high school sports. When I got older and watched movies like Friday Night Lights, I could relate, because I remember being in middle school and going to Springbrook games and feeling like one day I'm gonna play for this team. It was a culture, right? It was the culture. I mean, you had DeMatha and all the other good schools back then. And, Springbrook was always in contention throughout my middle school years and my high school years. Springbrook was always in contention, whether it was basketball or football. And so what I remember in basketball was Blair had David Vanderpool. Remember David?
Of course, yes, very good.
Here's where it gets interesting. I just ran into David down at Essence this summer. I just saw David. We literally walked into each other on the hotel, on the hotel elevator. And we got, he's like, yo, I'm gonna come see your panel and everything. And it was just so good to see him, because I wasn't a starter in high school. I was seventh man or something like that. But I remember playing against David, and, David was a big star, and I'm so happy for him, because, he's on the verge of being a head coach now. You know what I mean? He's on that list now as a head coach and in the NBA. And this dude has worked hard. I mean, he's been doing this so long, and I'm so proud of him. But there's a lot of talent that came out of that area. And there's still more talent coming out of that area. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. I look at Miles Frost, who's playing MJ on Broadway. My man Laz Alonso, who's on The Boys, and Avatar, Regina Hall, Taraji. I know I'm forgetting some people right now, but the area has produced its fair share of talent, and I'm excited to see where the new talent is coming from. My man Jabari on Bel Air. It's incredible, and now I feel like one of the pioneers, because I can't remember too many folks that came out of the area before me and before Taraji and before Regina. So I feel like we were kind of the pioneers to come out of the area and get into this business.
No doubt about it. Actor Michael Ealy joins us here on the program. Reasonable Doubt. Like you've done a bunch of stuff, man, and I got to talk with you about your career, but I want to talk about this project.
Yeah.
Reasonable Doubt. Tell us about it, your role. Admittedly, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm gonna get there, man. It's football season. Okay. I'm so busy. I'm gonna get there though, Mike.
Well, it's football season, so there's Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and Friday night, right?
But man, I got so much going on.
I feel you.
I'm gonna get you there. I'm gonna get you there.
I feel you. That the beautiful thing about it is, you know, with us being on Hulu, is that you can watch it when it's convenient for you. So I think you'll like it. I think you'll dig it. The character Sean Patrick Thomas is playing is this guy named Braden Miller, who's a billionaire from Southeast DC. And when I first read the script, there was a part of me that really wanted to play this dude, because I was like, oh man, like he's from the hometown. Like I got to do this. Like this is, my dad's from Southeast DC. Like this is me right here. You know, my dad went to Spingarn, so it was I ain't had no choice, right? So like I was like, I don't know, like, you know, and they were like, no, Michael, we want you to play Damon. I was like, okay, cool. But I could have done that role. I could have done even Lewis, the husband. I think the male roles on this show are roles that, you know, brothers will get behind. I really do. And so I'm encouraging everybody to go see it. I've got friends calling me who are definitely enjoying it, because it's, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's the Black people we know. You know, like to me, Reasonable Doubt is set in LA, but it feels familiar to like all my friends who are working back home in the area. You know, every major city got a clique of Black folks like this. So I feel like it's tangible to everyone in that way.
By the way, did your father go to school with Dave Bing? You was a lot, you know, Sherman Douglas and Elgin Baylor, or a lot of great. Did he go to school? Wasn't that around the David Bing time?
He said that Dave Bing went to his school, but he wasn't there at the same time. Okay. They weren't there at the same time. Yeah.
Okay. So you know what, man? When your career, and I mentioned all of the projects. I mean, I mentioned only a very few, because I mean, you know, but let me take you back. I'm gonna tell you, man. Okay. Their eyes are watching God, right? Mm-hmm. When that came in, that's been, you know, in excess of 15 years ago. But I was thinking, when you were doing that project as one of the stars, playing opposite Halle Berry, Oprah Winfrey produced it. I'm like, man, I knew that dude when he was at Springbrook. That was really big, man. Can you kind of speak to that? I know you had done Barbershop and all that, but man, that was a really big project.
Yeah, it was life-changing in a lot of ways. You know, for me at that time, you know, to be chosen, like that was the thing. Like that wasn't a movie that was given to me off of the success of Barbershop. I got the audition off of the success of Barbershop for sure, but I was able to, I had to audition for that role, and, you know, to be chosen by Oprah, Halle, the director Darnell, you know, it meant the world to me. And a little known fact was Barry Jenkins, director of Moonlight, Underground Railroad, just extraordinary director, great person. He was the director's assistant on that movie. And I remember at the wrap party, him coming up to me and telling me like, yo, I saw all the audition tapes and yours was the best. And I still hold on to that to this day, because, you know, there's something magical about auditioning for a role that thousands of guys have auditioned for, and then you get the part. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of subjectivity to that. You know, there's a lot of luck involved, but when you put in the work and you go get that part, and I wanted that part so bad because I love that book so much, you know, it was like all the stars aligned for that one. And then working with Halle and getting to learn so much from her, being able to introduce my sister to Oprah and watch her cry. You know, everybody cry when they meet Oprah. So it's like my sister, I was like, come on. I was just like, come on, Kathy, come on. She was like, I can't help it, it's Oprah. But, you know, like being able to do that was special, you know, and I remember, like, you know, like I said, being at that premiere, like I remember Q came to that premiere and he was like, yo, I'm here to support you, bro. I was like, my man, like, it's just, I mean, it was just incredible. It was an incredible time in my career. And little did I know I'd still be here like 20 years later.
No doubt about it. A couple of more thoughts with Michael Ealy. As a matter of fact, he's our guest picker today. We got a couple of questions to ask him for some football games this weekend, HBCU, major college football.
I'm gonna go with my heart, by the way.
Okay, I know. That's why we kind of set you up a little bit with that. He joins us here on the program. You know, we're from Silver Spring, and it's a great area, a lot of diversity. And it's superb. I just think the first time I saw you was a Wendy's commercial, maybe early part of the 2000s or something like that. And so, where we come from is a lot of opportunities, no doubt, but to get to here is still, man, it's different. So your thoughts on sort of how you started and then where you are now, what most comes to your mind when you sort of maybe reflect on your career?
That's a good question. I'd have to say that I made some wise decisions that I didn't know whether or not they were wise decisions at the time. They're wise in hindsight, right? Definitely coming from the area was, I mean, look, my dad didn't have an opportunity to think about being an actor. So I'm grateful that my parents put me in a position to dream. Secondly, when I decided to go, part of the decision was being surrounded by brothers who were influenced by Spike Lee and all of his movies at the time, and wanted to get into filmmaking. And in working with them on a project or two, I was able to find my love of acting and find my passion for the rest of my life, right? And then 3, it was going to New York to pursue my dream and not telling a soul. And when I say that, I mean, I didn't tell any of my family why I was going to New York, other than my parents, because I needed them to co-sign on the apartment. But I didn't tell them until I got to New York and was like, I needed to close on an apartment. And I was like, okay, so now I got to tell you my dream. I graduated college, which is what you asked me to do. Now I need this favor from you. I need you to support my dream, and that is help me close on this apartment. And so they were able to do that. And I went to New York and I was waiting tables, and I told everybody I was a substitute teacher. And instead of telling them I was, going to be an actor, or I was studying to be an actor, because I didn't want anybody to look at me and think, oh, this pretty, he think he can just do whatever he wants. And so for me, it was important to not have any negativity around me. So I made my passions a secret and kept them to myself, kept my tunnel vision, and just put in the work, acting classes, internships, theater projects, all of that stuff I did. I just put in the work over the course of 5 years before coming out to LA and auditioning for Barbershop. So it was, it was a journey, but it was my movement. It was my journey. And I think by keeping it that way, instead of broadcasting it, which I think is now the way to do it, you broadcast everything via social media. Back then, I was just like silent but deadly with mine. You know what I mean? And I think those were significant moves to help me get to where I was, because I never had anybody doubt me, because nobody knew what I was doing.
Wow, man, very, very well said. So now Michael Ealy joining us here on the program again, Reasonable Doubt on Hulu now. So he's our celebrity guest picker today. Okay. All right. So let's start with Maryland versus, I mean, but I'm just saying, it's a setup, right?
Terps, don't matter who.
Purdue. Yeah.
Terps.
You got the Terps. Okay. All right.
Terps.
Here's an interesting one, right? Jimbo Fisher, Nick Saban, Texas A&M and Alabama. Who you got?
Bama.
Okay.
Bama. I'm gonna go with Bama. Roll Tide. I can't. It's really hard to bet against them. It's really hard. It's really, really hard. Yeah, they especially in big games. It's really hard to bet against Bama.
Yeah. All right, so let's go Cowboys versus Rams, NFL. We're switching to the NFL. Cowboys versus Rams.
Well, listen, being from the area, I still hate and despise the Cowboys fans, and the organization. So I will always vote for the Rams. I'll root for anybody opposite the Cowboys. You know how that goes.
I do.
It just is what it is. People don't understand that. I'll be like, you don't understand. Like it starts back with Drew Pearson. Like it starts all the way back with that. That's how long I've been like, anti-Cowboys.
And then the other NFL games, the game I'm going to be at, Titans versus the Commanders. I mean, after all we talked about early on in this conversation, Commanders versus Titans.
I'm gonna.
I know, right?
I think they'll pull this one out. I think Commanders will pull this one out. I do. I think that if they can stop Derrick Henry, they can pull this one out. And again, look, I don't wish any ill will upon the franchise in terms of a losing record or anything like that. I think, again, a lot of the bigger issues that surround the franchise have nothing to do with winning or losing. So, I still root for them, to win, but I definitely don't. It doesn't ruin my week when they don't.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, couple of HBCU football games. This rivalry goes way back, Morehouse and Tuskegee. I think this is like the 90th, meeting, and this game's gonna be in Birmingham. It's a neutral site. Game, two prestigious HBCUs. Who you got, Morehouse or Tuskegee?
I got to roll with the house, man. I got to roll with Morehouse. I got too many friends who went there. I just do. I got too many friends who went to Morehouse, and they're really good people, good fathers. So I'm gonna stand by Morehouse on this one.
Yeah, have you worked with either John David Washington, Spike Lee? Have you worked with them as of yet?
Yeah, I worked with Spike Lee on Miracle at St. Anna. And
that's right.
I just saw him recently in Brooklyn, outside of the 40 Acres office, and it was incredible. And then one of my best friends, Steve Mann, who's in Africa right now shooting Shaka Zulu, he went to Morehouse, and the list just goes on and on.
Yeah, Seith's a good dude. Had him on this show. I think he was in your class, I believe it.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
Yeah. And then of course Samuel Jackson went to Morehouse too. Last game, big game, FAMU, Florida A&M versus South Carolina State. Now, little background. South Carolina State's the defending HBCU national champs. I think, as you know that. Maybe 1-3 right now. FAMU is 3-2 on the season.
Again, I told you I was going to bet with my heart, right? I was going to bet with my heart. So, Will Packer, who's a good, very dear friend of mine, went to FAMU and is a big alum at FAMU. And, I mean, you got to love that about him. And I'm going to go with FAMU on this one. I'm going to go with FAMU on this one because I think, again, I'm just betting with my heart.
Yeah.
It don't have to make sense when you're betting with your heart.
Yeah. All good. Well, again, the new project is Reasonable Doubt. It's on Hulu. You got anything else you have upcoming or working on?
No, not in the next couple of months. So we'll see about next year. But yeah, it's been a good year. I had a lot of stuff come out this year. I'm very proud of this year.
Yes, you have. You continue to stay busy. Reasonable Doubt on Hulu. Check it out. One of the stars, you see him right there. Michael Ealy joins us here on Radio Boss and Box to Row. Michael, great to catch up with you again, man. Continue success in all you do.
My man, I appreciate you, brother. I will hopefully see you the next time I'm in town.